You know, that image of beekeeping, fresh honey, the buzz of the hive.
Hmm.
It's really rewarding, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fantastic hobby.
But when you're just starting out, it can feel, well, a bit overwhelming. Like, where do you even begin?
Yeah, there's a lot of advice flying around too. Easy to feel a bit lost in the swarm of information.
Exactly. And that is precisely why we're doing this. Welcome, everyone, to a special deep dive session. We've designed this one specifically for you, the new beekeeper.
Think of it as maybe a helping hand to get you started confidently.
Yeah, your guide through those essential first steps. And hey, if you find this kind of detailed look helpful, please do follow, like, and subscribe to the Deep Dive Project. We've got more beekeeping deep dives planned.
And definitely let us know what you'd like us to cover. If there's a specific beekeeping puzzle you're trying to solve, tell us. Your suggestions really shape our future sessions.
For sure. So, our mission today is pretty straightforward. Give you a clear step-by-step lesson on getting started right in beekeeping. We're pulling from, best practices, expert advice.
Basically, setting you up for success from day one, ready to jump in.
Let's do it. Step one, and it's a big one, preparation and safety.
Absolutely critical. Before you even think about opening a hive, being prepared is paramount. Safety really does start before you get to the bees.
Right. It's not just about throwing on a suit. Our sources really hammer this home. First up, you need a written emergency plan. Seriously.
Know where the nearest hospital or clinic is, how to get there quickly, keep that info handy.
And maybe think about who might be helping you, right?
Yeah.
Any allergies or health issues they have?
Good point.
Yep.
And tied to that plan is your first aid kit. You need a really well-stocked one. Keep one in your car, maybe another one in your honey house or wherever you store your gear.
And what should be in it? The sources mentioned specifics.
Yeah, definitely antihistamines. And crucially, if anyone involved has a known severe bee allergy, an EpiPen is an absolute must-have, non-negotiable.
Got it. Okay, so plan first aid. What about the tools for actually working the hives?
Right, the inspection tools. Having the right stuff makes things safer and honestly less stressful for you and the bees. We saw a good picture of a typical toolbox.
Yeah, what are the essentials? A smoker, obviously.
Yeah.
A cold smoker, specifically.
Yes, the cool smoke helps calm the bees. And a hive tool. You just can't manage without one to gently pry things apart. Frames, boxes.
Propolis can be like cement sometimes.
It really can. Marking pens are useful too. Maybe for marking your queen or noting something on a frame. And a field notebook is a great idea.
To jot down what you see in each hive.
Exactly. What you did, what you saw, condition of the queen, brood pattern, honey stores. It helps track progress. Oh, and maybe a small hammer or some nails for quick fixes.
Makes sense. And a fire extinguisher nearby, especially with a smoker.
Always a smart idea. Better safe than sorry.
Okay, tools check. Now, the gear we wear. PPE, personal protective equipment.
This is non-optional stuff. You need protection. First and foremost, a veil. Always wear your veil.
Every single time, even for a quick look.
Every single time. No exceptions. And clothing that covers all your skin. Check your suit or clothes for holes before you put them on.
And footwear.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Sturdy boots, work shoes, something that covers your ankles. Tuck your pants into your boots or use straps. You don't want bees crawling up your legs.
Definitely not. What about gloves?
Tight-fitting gloves are best. They protect your hands but still let you feel what you're doing so you don't accidentally crush bees when handling frames.
Okay, here's an interesting one from the research. Scented products. Big no-no, apparently.
So yeah, absolutely. Perfumes, strong shampoos, colognes. Bees are super sensitive to smells. Those scents can actually make them more defensive or agitated.
So go scent-free when you're heading to the apiary, that's the bee yard, for anyone new to the term.
Exactly. And one more modern hazard to be aware of, ticks.
Ah, yes. Increasingly a problem.
Yeah, especially if your hives are in grassy or wooded areas. After you're done working with the bees, make it a habit to do a thorough tick check on yourself. It's important for preventing tick-borne diseases.
Good advice. Okay, so we're prepped, we're safe. What's next? Where do the bees actually live?
Right, step 2, setting up your apiary, your bee yard. Location, location, location.
Just like real estate, our sources, especially the best management guides, had some clear pointers. They often show an ideal setup visually. First thing, find a dry spot.
Bees don't do well with dampness. Good air circulation is important.
And morning sun is apparently a big plus.
Yes, it gets the hive warmed up and the bees flying earlier in the day. Also, access to clean water. That's essential.
How close should the water be?
Well, the New Jersey guidelines we saw suggested within about 25 feet, especially in hot weather, a bird bath with pebbles, a dripping hose, something reliable,
And of course, food nearby. Uncontaminated forage.
meaning lots of different flowers and plants for nectar and pollen. Diversity in their diet is really good for bee health.
Okay, placement of the actual hives within the apiary. Anything specific there?
Yeah, think about reducing drifting. That's when bees accidentally go into the wrong hive.
How do you stop that?
Using different colors on the hive boxes, or maybe simple shapes like circles or squares painted on the front, it helps the bees orient themselves to their own home. Landmarks help too.
Clever. And hive stands. Are they necessary?
Highly recommended. Gets the hive off the damp ground, improves airflow underneath, and it saves your back a bit when you're doing inspections.
Good point. And generally, keep the area tidy, right? Easy access.
Just common sense, really. You don't want obstacles when you're carrying heavy boxes full of honey. Those are called supers. Make sure you can get to your hives easily and safely.
Now, something I found really smart was the idea of a quarantine yard.
Oh yeah, that's excellent practice. If you get new bees or new equipment, or if you suspect a colony might be sick,
Keep them separate for a while.
exactly, keep them away from your main apiary initially to make sure you're not introducing any diseases or pests to your healthy hives.
Smart. And speaking of equipment and diseases,
Mm-hmm.
the sources strongly warned against buying used gear, right?
Very strongly. Especially from unknown sources, you just don't know what you're getting. It could have lingering disease spores like American foul brood or toxins, pesticide residues.
Stuff that could wipe out your bees.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It's generally much safer to invest in new equipment from a reputable supplier, even though it costs more upfront.
Okay, so apiary set up beautifully, new equipment is ready, the bees arrive. What's step 3?
Step 3, initial hive management, and this is crucial. Feeding your new colonies.
This is where that 10 mistakes new beekeepers make article really hit home. It seems like a common slip-up.
It really is. People think, bees make honey, why would I feed them? But especially with new colonies, it's often absolutely vital.
Why is that? Let's break it down. Package bees, for instance.
Right. Package bees arrive, well, basically homeless. They're a cluster of bees, usually with a queen, but no comb, no stored honey, no baby bees. They're stressed, maybe a bit weak.
So they have zero reserves to start.
Exactly. They need that sugar syrup feed immediately to give them the energy to start building wax combs. The sources say consistent feeding for at least a month is often needed just to get them established. Skipping it is a huge risk.
Okay, what about nucs, nucleus colonies? They come with some comb in stores, right?
They do, which is a big advantage. But even nuke sinks, unless there's a massive nectar flow happening right when you install them, often benefit from feeding.
So how do you know if a nukes needs feeding?
Good question. The advice was practical. Install the nukes, leave them alone for about a week, then go in and check. Are they building new white wax comb on the empty frames you added?
And if not,
If there's no new comb being drawn out, that's your sign. They need feed to stimulate that wax production and growth.
because the goal is rapid buildup.
Yes. You need that colony to build comb quickly, and for the queen to lay lots of eggs to increase the population fast. That strong population is what they need to gather enough resources to survive their first winter. Feeding fuels that growth.
Makes perfect sense. What if you catch a swarm? Do they need feeding?
Swarms are a bit different. They usually leave the original hive with full bellies of honey, so feeding isn't always needed right away.
But it's still a good idea to watch them.
Definitely. If you hive a swarm and notice after a week or two that they aren't really growing, not building much comb, then yeah, giving them some feed is a good supportive measure.
And the feed itself. Just sugar and water.
Pretty much. Simple sugar syrup, using regular granulated white sugar, make sure it's uncontaminated. You can easily find recipes online for the right ratio, usually 1.1 sugar to water by weight or volume for stimulating growth.
And this ties back to the water source we mentioned earlier, right?
Absolutely. Don't forget that clean, accessible water source near the hives at all times. They need water for drinking, for cooling the hive, for diluting honey. It's just as vital as nectar.
Okay, let's quickly recap the main steps from this deep dive lesson for our new beekeepers.
Sounds good.
So step 1 was all about preparation and safety. Getting your emergency plan, first aid, the right tools, and crucially, your PPE sorted out before you start. And remembering things like no strong scents and checking for ticks.
Right. Step 2 was setting up the apiary itself. Choosing that ideal location, dry, sunny morning, water, forage, placing hives to reduce drifting, using stands, keeping it clean, and being cautious about used equipment.
Oh.
Oh, and the quarantine yard idea.
Yep. And step 3, the really critical early management piece,
Hmm.
feeding those new colonies, whether packages or often nucs, consistently for that first month or so to fuel comb building and population growth, which is key for winter survival,
Yeah.
and always providing water.
Exactly. Getting these foundational steps right, it just makes such a difference. It sets you and your bees up for a much smoother and more successful start in beekeeping. It's really about fostering healthy, resilient colonies from day one.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now, as you get going, you'll obviously need supplies, maybe feeders, suits, hive tools, or perhaps you'll look for more books or courses. We just wanted to mention we might occasionally include links to products or resources we think are useful.
And if you happen to purchase something through one of those links, we might receive a small commission, which helps support the deep dive project. Just wanted to be upfront about that possibility.
Transparency is key. But really, this is just the starting point, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Consider this the first step on a really fascinating learning journey. Beekeeping is all about continuous observation, learning from your bees, adapting.
Always thinking about the long-term health of the colony.
Exactly. That resilience piece is so important.
So please keep sending us your questions and topic suggestions for future deep dives. We really want to tackle what's on your mind.
Yeah, don't hesitate. And remember to follow, like, and subscribe so you don't miss out on our next exploration.
We're genuinely excited for anyone starting out on this path. It's a wonderful world to get into. So maybe a final thought to leave folks with. As you take these first steps, what are your long-term goals? What does a thriving, resilient apiary look like to you in, say, 5 years?
That's a great question to ponder. Thinking beyond just getting started towards sustainability and the ongoing well-being of your bees, that's really the heart of responsible beekeeping.